Hi, my name's Kayla Richardson. I am just finishing off my first semester in Public Policy Administration for my Bachelor's in Science program. I have case study number 9, which is helping the homeless the shelter's dilemma. In this video, I will be going over what the case study involves, the interview which is associated with it, along with the stakeholders and their perspectives, and my recommendation on how to fix this ongoing problem. To begin, the case study involves a college student by the name of Linda Vega. She wanted to go into the career of public administration, and how she went into this decision is during one of her college classes, a gentleman of the name Roger Deadwile spoke in one of her classes. During his speech, he lectured on how homelessness got to the severity as it is. One of the examples he used during this lecture was a mother with her children going into an emergency shelter, and how they have certain hours. During the nighttime they can stay, but after the hours are up, which was during the daytime, they had to leave. And the problem was that the mother could not afford to take her children to daycare. They could not even afford much at all. So what they did was go to public restrooms to hide their shame. And one of the problems was that she had no job. This made Linda want to work to fix the problem on homelessness. So how she began was, during the rest of her college, she wrote papers in regards to this and how she could fix it. Then once she left, she started to work on it with her jobs. However, another part of this case is looking into New York and the severity of the homelessness in New York. It got so bad there because people from all over the United States were going to New York because they had friends and family that they were hoping to stay with, and those who got denied by the friends and family were left on the street. This is why the New York justice system had a case called McCain versus Notch, which the case established that all New York shelters had the legal right to have any citizen of New York shelter at one of these emergency shelters who claim homelessness. They cannot deny them of that. Now this leads me into my stakeholders. The first one is the homeless people. Their perspective, it's no matter how hard people work, they will find themselves on the street. They can have a full-time job and cannot afford things like groceries, transportation, and homes because of how everything is expensive, and this is no matter where you live. The second stakeholders is the homeless shelters. Because there's a rise in homelessness due to different circumstances, these homeless shelters have so many people coming to them wanting shelter, food, and hopefully a chance to be on their feet on their own one day. And then the third stakeholder is the government, whether it's local, state, or federal government. Their perspective is that they all have a role to play in this problem. And a lot of it has to do with the economy. Yes, you can pay people more, but also at the same time, if you pay people more, everything will go up, and it is their part to figure out how to pay people a living wage while reducing the prices. And it is very complex of how to do it because of all these different factors. And next is my interview. Instead of interviewing someone who's part of a food pantry, a homeless person, or a homeless shelter, I decided to go with someone who works with homes. They are in their industry, it's called a closer, which basically works with people like realtors on both sides of the party, of buyers and sellers. And this is their card. They are a title company, part of a title company. And in this interview, I gathered the information of how people can become homeless. And she said that it's the housing market that plays a huge part in it. Whether you're renting or trying to buy, it is so expensive. Renting can cost up to $1,000 per month. And that's just renting. And they're licensed in the state of Florida. So just imagine that. You're living out on the street, and rent alone can't even be affordable. Just imagine buying a house. That can be $500,000 to $1 million. Just alone. And that could be just for one bed, one bath, apartment or house. And we were discussing on how it got to this point of being so expensive. And she said it's the economy and inflation. How I know this person is because I have several friends and family that work in this business. I grew up in this business of real estate. And seeing it first person is very interesting. And in this interview, this is what we all went through in this interview of how there is basically the housing of rent and buying is so expensive, and there is nothing we can do about it. And a lot of homeless people want to have food and transportation to jobs in other places before they can find a proper roof over their head. And with this information I've gathered, I believe that I can come to a reasonable recommendation. And to begin with this, it all comes down to whether or not we can basically pay people. And I believe that we need to pay people a living price. Like, not living price, a living wage. And another thing that is important is whether it's the federal, state, or local government, they need to not have laws implemented against the homeless people. You can have it look both ways. These laws can protect your state by making it look much nicer, or you can basically hurt the homeless people. And I feel like if you're not able to pay them the minimum amount to live, and this includes food, home, and all this stuff, if you're not able to, don't create laws against them. Allow them, like, to a certain extent, to go panhandling, or because homeless shelters can only take so many people. And if there needs to be something that needs to be done, and I want to recommend that everyone needs to look at everyone's perspective of being able to have enough shelters, pay people enough, and create laws where homeless people won't be severely affected. In addition, if I became homeless right now, thankfully I'm not, but if I was, the only homeless shelter that is close to me is by Williams Park, which is a very dangerous place for me as a young female. And with all this in mind, I believe that the government should work with not only the citizens who have a home, but also those who don't. And I believe that there needs to be a change. This is everything that all the things that I've gone over in this case study involves the case study itself, stakeholders, and the interview, and my recommendation. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if